Good afternoon, good day, how's it going? Just can't get cozy today. I hope I'm at the right distance from the mic. I had to see a bit of sweat fall into my ice soy mocha. Okay. So I set up all the equipment today and I was in a pretty melancholic mood again. And I was thinking that'll be my first topic for today. I haven't got my book and pen today because what I'm going to do is just say what's on my mind. Pretty crazy, right? So, excuse the sweaty face and the red face, but I just did like 20 minutes of weights to get myself pumped up for the podcast. Oh my god, I'm literally sweating buckets here. It's insane. This humidity in Brisbane's out of control. I think it helps you lose weight though, and keeps your skin looking fresh, as long as you're in the sun. It's like being in a sauna all the time, but you don't have to pay for it. So I was thinking about how, even though I've got some good things going in my life, I still get down in the dumps. And I think that's a normal reaction. Like it's pretty wild when people think that to be, sad sometimes is chemical imbalance in the brain. I mean, obviously some people, like 1 in a million, do have some synapses in the brain that don't fire properly. But I'd say there's a hell of a lot of overdiagnosis. That's actually one of the main reasons I wanted to study psychology at university, is because there's a lot of people who are overdiagnosed. At my high school, a lot of people were prescribed dexamphetamines or Ritalin, which is a softcore form of methamphetamine, because they had ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, where they couldn't concentrate on these mundane activities at school. And maybe they were just warriors, maybe they were dancers, maybe they were shamans in the wrong position. Who used to say everyone's supposed to fill out spreadsheets at a little office? Some people are meant to be circus entertainers. I mean, obviously you need to learn to read and write, but Pythagoras, there's a lot of information there that's really irrelevant and you're not gonna be in deathbed and be like, oh, I wish I knew more algebra. But I was thinking about how when you feel like crap, perhaps your body trying to tell you something. Like me, I haven't got too much life purpose right now. I mean, I'm pretty strict on rebelling against the government, pretty strict on my physical health. I've got a really loving, supportive girlfriend who is extremely intelligent and got a great sense of humour. She's really adventurous and open to experience, and also she's hot as fuck, which is pretty cool. And, I've got a family that puts up with my shit, I'm not bad looking, I've got the gift of the gab. I'm not doing too bad. Born in a rich country, that's the main thing I got going for me. My ancestors worked freaking hard so I can have an easy life. Look at me, I was just born into this. I'm just like rolled out of bed and I was just given all this successful life. I mean, I had to do some things, like I worked all the time when I was like 18 to 25 on the weekends, when other people were, I did go out sometimes, but not much compared to others. Some people went out 3 times a week, and I was working at nights when I was studying during the day, or working during the day. Sometimes I had 3 jobs. When I was like 19, I had 3 jobs. I'd work in a cafe, Dome Cafe in Hall's Head during the day, and then in the evenings I'd work at M and the Point as a bartender, and then I'd work at Players Nightclub as a bartender. And I would drive my VS Commodore with no license with a cracked windscreen between jobs, and I'd sleep for like 5 minutes in the back seat of my car outside the car park in Mandurah, and I'd scull some Red Bulls and it would do nothing to me. I mean, now I've had a Red Bull, you'd think I was goddamn Hitler on speed, because I haven't got a huge caffeine tolerance now, but it's crazy. Like at 19, I just did nothing because I was so exhausted. And what did I even do with that money? Like, I took my ex-girlfriend overseas to Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Dubai, Bali a few times, went to Carnarvon up northwest Australia, seen a bit of the world, but I don't think it was worth damaging my health and missing out on a social life. But I was thinking about how it's a natural response. Like today, I did some couple of evil things. I'm not going to tell you, but just a couple of things I'm not proud of. And then it made me lethargic and pessimistic. And when I was on the Facebook chat to my family, I was a bit mean to my dad. Because, I'm one of those people, if I'm in a bad mood, I'm taking you down with me, If I'm going down on the ship, I'm taking a couple innocent souls with me. Well, not that I'm just like an evil dictator. I'm just more willing to tell it how it is. I'm more willing to be a little bit more crass. Like maybe I've got some deep residing issues with people, and I'm just willing to not sugarcoat it. But I was a bit rude. But that's because I didn't have much purpose today, and I couldn't work in my field anymore because of the tyrannical, irrational, unconstitutional mandates. Oh man, that's actually bloody good. Today, I added a bit of panela. Panela is evaporated cane sugar. It's the best type of sugar. Listen, if you listen to one thing I ever say, if there's one thing you want to listen to this. Get panela. It's like a South American cane sugar. It's the duck's nuts. It's the bee's knees. It's the shiz niz. It's bloody fantastic. It's amazing. It's a bit better for you. Don't ask me why, but it is. Oh, there's bonsai as well. Japanese soy milk. And then I got that chocolate magnesium I always talk about. Oh, that was so satisfying. Also because it's cold and I just did the 20-minute workout in this extremely humid environment. That was fantastic. My goodness, this is going to be a good show. Are you ready to be entertained? But yeah, I think a lot of all the chemicals in our brain, it comes down to sex. It comes down to breeding. It comes down to making your mark in the world with future generations. Like Jim Gaffigan was on a podcast on the Joe Rogan Experience last week. And his theory is the main reason why Hollywood makes a lot of films is not because of money, it's because of ego. And I thought about that for a while, and I come to the conclusion that he is correct. Because ego is everything. Ego comes down to basically how much will your impact spread in society. Like Genghis Khan, he raped and pillaged so much, like 5% of Asians now have his genetics. He's obviously, if he was alive now, he'd be like a Brett Weinstein or like Nancy Pelosi, someone that's just desperate to have their impact onto the world. They want to have the most babies or thought babies to make sure the most people in the world are like them. They're so arrogant with their beliefs in their self-confidence that they think that the world would be a better place if the most people think, act, look, smell like them. And I'm thinking, when you're not proud of yourself, like me this morning, your body has a natural byproduct. It naturally makes you feel pessimistic and self-doubt, makes you feel a little bit depressed, because you're not supposed to breed. If you're not feeling proud of yourself, if you haven't achieved anything, you're supposed to have low testosterone or for low estrogen. You're supposed to be unattractive. And I was feeling really unattractive before. Like, I guarantee you, if you seen me 2 hours ago and you looked at my face, you'd be like, this guy's a 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. Now you look at me, probably think, oh, he's a good 7.5. That's because I had a couple of things that happened to me and that I achieved that gave me self-confidence. I got a phone call just before with a job offer. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I'm an ultimate man of mystery. And also because I did some weights, and also because I set up this. Just knowing I set up this little podcast show, it made me feel just all warm and fuzzy inside because I had some purpose. I wasn't just a lying slob, just lying there being entertained. I'm giving back to my community. I know I've got one fan, and that's enough for me. So, it's a pretty wild theory, but think about that. Think about how. That's why I don't like things like crystal meth, because what it does is it makes stupid people feel arrogant. I hate that because, especially in like a club environment, if someone's all they've been doing is just having constant pleasure, never get educating themselves, never working hard, double crossing everyone they know. If they have this chemical rush, then they're going to artificially feel good about themselves temporarily, and then they're going to feel like shit the next day and then bash everyone. But the worst part is they're walking along with their big shoulders out for no reason. They're acting like all that in a bag of chips, and they haven't even done anything. And that's inappropriate. That's not the way Mother Nature intended it. We're supposed to feel good about yourself for achieving hard work. Like me, dripping sweat, just doing deadlifts and squats and a couple of bicep curls. I did that. No one told me to do it. No one could do that for me. I had to do that of my own accord. I mean, how many people do you know are financially secure, they've got a bit of spare time, they haven't got any permanent injuries, but they don't work out at all because they're lazy pieces of shit, or just because they don't understand the importance of it? I mean, people just think it's because you're trying to look sexy or you're trying to appear tough, but it's not. We're supposed to work. I mean, think about our lives a couple hundred years ago. Most of us would be field hands. We'd be out there picking wheat all day or potatoes. So if you're just got money from a small business or something and you spend your life just eating chicken parmesanas and sipping IPA, then you're not being true to your ancestors' beliefs. Like, you're supposed to do a bit of resistance exercise. And it comes down to voluntarily facing adversity. When you choose to fight your demons, choose to slay the dragon, your body rewards you. Like, you know, the runner's high, the endorphin release from running, that's a fact. You go for a long run, you feel good about yourself. I mean, obviously you can take pre-workout, which does half the work for you, but you still went out there and did it. And the same as like if you've just created a really cool website, or just drew a really nice picture, and then someone's genuinely like, "Wow, that's a beautiful painting, Frederick," or "Wow, Macy, that website is out of control. It's just so minimalistic, but so chic and so functional. I just really want to buy products from this website now. Like, I'll take 2, buy one get one free. I don't care. I'm taking the whole lot. I'm getting a loan. I'm going to buy lots of that product because that website is just mesmerizing. It's just the epitome of chicness." And you don't, or you can judge it yourself. You don't need someone to go, "Oh, the good boy. Oh, the good boy." You know in your heart if something's done well. Like, Stephen King, he would have a cigarette every time he wrote a book. And that's a pretty cool inspiration. I mean, nicotine is pretty nice, you got to admit. And that's a powerful motivation. Like, Ben Cousins, he used to smoke crack after winning a game. Like, do whatever you got to do. I mean, don't smoke crack or don't smoke cigarettes, but that's just basically a sign from someone who's already successful that they've appreciated, that they've earned their stripes. They've slayed the dragon, if you will. That's what we're supposed to do. I mean, think about things like microwaves, Uber drivers. They're all just making things easier for you. But the ironic thing is, the easier life is, the less rewarding it is. It's a catch-22. It's just like, since I've been in Brisbane, like I hardly ever get Uber Eats. We've got it like we've got takeaway like once or twice in the past like 6 months. Whereas in Melbourne, I'll get it like twice a week, spending like $200, $300. It's insane, Such a pleb. And I'm much happier now, and I'm abusing alcohol and cigarettes less, which is good. Much less. Much less. So, yeah, think about this. Every time you're feeling like crap, maybe that's your body telling you you deserve to feel like crap. And you need to voluntarily face some kind of adversity, whether it be paint a painting, take your dog for a walk, do 20 minutes of weights, or set up a podcast. Or, apply for some jobs, go for some interviews. Like, I've been in a lot of jobs in my life I've been unhappy with, and I stayed there for a long time. And you could have come home from work one day and just jumped on Seek or put up an ad on Gumtree and try to get a new job. And when you get offered a new job, you've got 100 new possibilities in life. New colleagues, a new drive to work, income, something to talk about at parties if you ever go to them. Like, if you're not like me, I never go to them because I'm boring. Ooh. So, yeah, what I was going to do today is also going to go through my Facebook because I have a lot of interesting articles on there, and I'm going to discuss them. But yeah, basically to finalize my first topic, like if someone's doing really well in life, like if a woman, if she's looking after herself, if she's got a good high self-esteem, she's feeling good about herself, she's got good connections, good social network, she just like vibrates and glows. Like sometimes, have you ever felt like strangely attracted to someone? And you're like, gee, they're not even my type normally. Normally I like, short redheads with curly hair and, freckles. But now there's this extremely tall brunette with, with a strange accent I've just found strangely attracted to. It could just be because they've just got something radical going about them. Like they're just ticking all the boxes. They've just voluntarily slayed the dragon, if you will. Also comes down to DNA. We're just animals, by the way. We try to make our lives so robotic. We plan our lives like it's like it's a school day. We forget we're animals, and like sometimes you'll just be strangely attracted to someone because their DNA is so opposite to you that you'll just most likely have children with no disease. Because obviously, like similar to your gene pool, like the smell of someone in your family is supposed to turn you off. Like, that makes sense, right? Because if you have a child with someone in your family, they could be retarded. We've all seen Deliverance. Da-dang, dang, 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 dang. Da-dang, dang, 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 dang. You got a parrot mouth, son. Oh, that's what a lot of people from Los Angeles think about people from the South, which is really disrespectful because a lot of people in the city, like in Los Angeles, they're the ones with all the strange sexual fetishes. They're the ones sacrificing their firstborn child to the devil. No, I'm getting a bit extreme there, but I don't like racism. Like, to make fun of someone from a small town is racism or sexism or prejudice. You know what I mean? I've met some of the best people in the country. Like when I got stuck in the desert when I was trying to escape the borders last year. Like when I almost died and I was bogged in my girlfriend's Honda Civic for a few days and ran out of water. I got helped by this random cowboy. He was driving illegally. He shouldn't have. I was in the corner of New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, and this guy helped me out. He was a bloody angel, mate. He was the sickest of the sickest. He was a mad dog. He was a bloody ripper, mate. I would do anything for this bloke. He was a sick cunt, and he was from the country. He wasn't that well spoken. He wasn't articulate, but he had an amazing presence about him. So for people living in, like Sydney, Melbourne, London, Paris, Prague, New York, all those fancy pants places, don't think you're so high and mighty because everyone has their downsides. Yes, you may have fancier pants. You may know more about 1960s Hungarian poetry, but it doesn't mean you're a better person. Would you stop for someone on the side of the road if they're bogged? Do you invite your neighbours around for dinner? I used to have this Aboriginal client, and she said that her dad was Irish, and they lived in the middle of the bush, and every night their family would have a huge bush tucker. They would invite the whole street over. They had like 10, 20 people over every night. And she wasn't that well-spoken or articulate, but she comes from a family that was just like, she gave so much back. Think of all the trickle-down effect in the community she would have had. She would have made a huge impact on this world, her family. And maybe she didn't know that much about, Napoleon or Joseph Stalin, but she had so much heart. But obviously, people in the country do have their flaws. They are known statistically to drink a little bit too much, more than city people. That is because city people lie. You never know. So let's get started. Now that I'm warmed up, let's get started on my Facebook analysis. Okay, so my latest post is a photo of 1967 in Amsterdam of this beautiful outdoor setting where children are being taught outside. And I always thought, when I was studying at university and school, like, what the hell are we doing inside this box with these fluorescent lights? It's draining my soul. I want to be outside. I want to see the trees. I want to see the sun. I want to stare at the sun. It just breaks my heart to think about all these children who are just have so much potential. Every child has a gift, but they're all squashed down, just taught to fill out Excel spreadsheets and tighten the screw and just sink that piss and escape from their consciousness. And it's so sad because everyone is born to be, well, not everyone, some people are just daft, but a lot of people are born to be magical. And I think that being taught inside has something to do with stomping our spirit. I mean, yes, there's great things about education, of course. Education has made me who I am. But like the Rothschilds, they stamped out philosophy from schools. They wanted people to just be cogs in the wheel of the Industrial Revolution. They didn't want people to know about high consciousness, about vibrational frequencies, about forest bathing. Japanese expression that when you go walking through a forest, it's literally like washing away all the mental dirt from your cranium. They want to keep you an employee. Why don't they teach you about taxes at school? Why don't they teach you about negatively geared properties? You know why? They want you to stay a little bitch. They want you to stay a humble little employee for all your life. Just going to the bottle shop, going to Domino's Pizza, going on Twitter to have wars with people about their sexual identity. They want to keep you small. If everyone is doing, I think that's why this whole crazy stuff happened a couple of years ago, because I think people are doing really well. People were starting to travel all over the world and figure out how the world works, and independent journalists are doing well. MSNBC, CNN, Fox, they were going downhill, baby, because independent journalists are doing well, Like Joe Rogan is popular because he's honest. Like, people aren't as dumb as you think. Honesty is transparent. If someone puts their heart in the sleeve, you can see that. If someone is lying, it's easy to tell. I think because we've been watching so much YouTube and stuff now since we're young, we're so used to staring at people. Like, we're so used to being like, what's this person like? What's their agenda? What's up their sleeve? Are they trying to abuse me? They want to sodomize me? Are they trying to take my money? Are they trying to take my status? What do they want from me? Are they lying to me? People are getting good at analyzing human behavior. We watch a lot of people. So when someone's honest, we're like, thank the Lord. Someone has been transparent. I love you. Have my babies. But yeah, I think if anyone's watching this who wants to run a school one day, why don't you give the option to bring your textbooks outside on a sunny day? I mean, yeah, there may be a couple of bugs, maybe some kids will be distracted, but after a while you'll see results. I mean, we're meant to be outside. We're animals, remember? We're not robots. Don't forget that. You may think you're a robot. You're not. You're an animal. You're a human being. You're a sentient. We're all in this together. We're all in this together, remember? Let's all hold hands. You and me, we're in this together now. 9 Inch Nails song. Okay, now I got a photo of a guy. The last other post was a guy with like 10 kids. He looks super happy. That comes down to me thinking, like, I was saying the other day, how there's a agenda against having kids. Everyone's just making their work their kids, or they're eating too much, or they're drinking too much, or they're taking SSRIs because they're shying away from responsibility. I mean, the more responsibility, the happier you are. Like this morning, I had no responsibility. I made my girlfriend avocado on toast with a soy latte. That's all I did. Then I just watched Theo Von with Chris Stephanus, and I felt like shit because I didn't have any responsibility. And so I was like, my vibrational frequency was low. I was like, dude, my heart was beating low. I wasn't very attractive. I wasn't very breathable at that time because I didn't have any responsibility. My next post was by Patrick Bet David. He reshared an article from VPost. It is titled, "Costly Side Hustle. 2 nurses in New York charged with earning $1.5 million by forging COVID vax cards." Now, doesn't that make you think? You know how if you watch the mainstream corporate legacy media, they always put up the numbers of 90% vaccinated rate in New South Wales, Israel 99% vaccination rate, Los Angeles 5,000% vaccination rate. Think about this. Think about how many medical professionals are taking money to give people fake vax cards, and what that's doing is skewing the statistics. So then everyone else is thinking, oh, well, if everyone else is doing it, I'll do it too. Sorry for that erratic outburst, but this shit pisses me off. My next post it's a motorbike. It's from General Knowledge. I reposted. In July 1975, a 17-year-old boy was killed riding his moped. He was killed exactly a year after his 17-year-old brother was killed while riding the same moped in the same intersection by the same taxi driver carrying the exact same passenger. Isn't that synchronicity? The world is full of surprises. Real life is more interesting than fiction. Get out there, study history. There's a hell of a lot of shit going on. Don't just watch reruns of Star Trek. Don't just eat pizza and watch The Simpsons. There's crazy shit going on out there. Real life is wonderful. Go out. Go to Vietnam. Go to Laos. Go to Amsterdam. See some shit. Meet some people. Read some books. I had a post just after that, before that. Everyone's acting like celebrities, but without talent or responsibility. Okay, I posted that because I was thinking about how a lot of people think they're so cool, man. So cool. I'm so cool. I'm at a cafe. Look at my guns, bro. Check it out. Yeah! And they're like, haha, check it out. I've got a fancy car. Yeah, I got given some money from my relative and I bought this car. I'm so cool. I'm so cool. But what have you done? I mean, do you have much to talk about without taking 3 pingers and a bottle of wild turkey? Do you have anything to say? Or are you just a spoiled little brat? Basically, because social media, people are narcissistic as fuck. Like, you know what I don't get is like bodybuilders acting like duck face, and it's like you think you're a hard ass, but you look like a little bitch, you know? And you wonder why trannies message you all the time saying they want to suck your dick, is because you look like a fucking try-hard faggot. Sorry, that was rude. Okay, man, that's bad. I don't know why it's bad. Okay, I have to delete that. Shit, I won't delete that. Okay, I will take this opportunity to realize that was inappropriate and fuck. So I uploaded one of my videos. It's got like 5,500 views on YouTube. It's just of my dog looking at a kangaroo in the bush, and I had audio commentary where I'm like, "What the hell are you looking at, boy? You want a party?" Yeah, I just uploaded that. And then the other previous video I uploaded was Jordan Peterson finally shares his views on the pandemic. And the caption is, "Our response to the pandemic, caused death and misery more than the pandemic itself." I mean, Jordan Peterson, he is a well-respected academic. He is a clinical psychologist. He is an intellectual. He is a hard-working human being. He has given his life to help others. He is an example of someone we should look up to. Not these coked-up football players chasing sluts all day. He is a goddamn good man. And he is saying the cure is worse than the disease. My other post was, neurologists claim that every time you resist acting on anger, you're actually rewiring your brain to be calmer and more loving. Okay, this is something I need to read every day, because the past few years, I have developed a bit of an anger issue, as you can tell by my outburst a couple of minutes ago. And I will say I do believe I have some PTSD from being locked up for the past few years by dictator Dan Andrews. And also, my job as a working in mental health, I had half a dozen clients who had extreme childhood abuse. They were mostly men in their 40s and 50s. They told me about being locked up in the cupboard. They told me about malnutrition. They told me about sexual abuse. And every day, I would spend 4 hours each with these clients, right? And you know what I'd do after? I would drive in my BMW to the next client. I would have no debriefing. I would just internalize all that baggage. And I'd go home and I'll go to the gym. Oh, I couldn't go to the gym anymore because it's a health risk to go to the gym. And so, yeah, I don't think that's right. I think that if you're having extremely high maintenance clients who actually, I've been threatened with knives before. I've had people stalk me and I never ever had any counseling and debriefing. That's inappropriate because if you're a professional psychologist, you get debriefing for the first year or so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're supposed to regularly get checked up on because it's a lot of baggage. When you hear about all this abuse, when you hear about people starving their mother to death so they can take the inheritance off their mother, and then they see their mother once every few months, and then they cook them some scrambled eggs, and she eats it with her bare hands. She eats the whole plate within a few seconds because she's starving to death because her children are starving their own mother for the inheritance. Okay, when you hear about these stories and you just go home and be like, tra-la-la-la, life is good. That's it's a bit tricky. And do you see why I'm a little bit tense? Do you see why I'm a bit fucked in the head? I mean, I was homeschooled as a kid, and then I've been locked up by Dictator Dan, and I chose this life of counselling because I wanted to give back to the community. I wanted to help people, and it pays shit. The hours are terrible. I get no respect, and it's stressful. But I just wanted to be a good man. But I mean, look at me now. Look at me now. What good does it pay me? I mean, maybe I helped them. Maybe I didn't. I think I did. They did tell me they did appreciate it. I mean, their parents would. Okay, I got along really well. One of my clients, one of my favourite clients, his mum would come over all the time, and she said that he really enjoyed my counselling. He enjoyed my companionship. So it's just so hard to know that I've got pretty low self-esteem because I know I'm capable of so much. I mean, I know. Look, I've got some good things going for me, but because I'm comparing myself to such successful people, like I respect Jordan Peterson, I respect Friedrich Nietzsche, I respect Orson Welles, I respect Winston Churchill, I respect Mother Teresa, I respect Linda McCartney, I respect Mila Jovovich. Because I'm comparing myself to these amazing souls, I always feel like inferior, but that's good. You should always aim up. If I just compare myself to my alcoholic neighbour who always yells at his wife every time, then I would always feel like I'm wonderful. I don't want that. That's the problem if you stay with just your basic high school friends. If you always stay, it happens in Perth a lot, not to bag up Perth, bloody good souls there, but there is some issues where they hang out with the same 15 friends from school, and so they always think they're doing well just because, they're not meth heads and they're not having to serve jail time. They have a roof over their heads. They think they're doing well. But I mean, you should always aim up. It's a God-given right, especially if you're born into a rich country like Australia. Take advantage of that. How many people in places like North Korea, they would literally stab 3 people, neighbours, in the eyeball for the chance to be born in Australia, for the chance of the freedoms we have. Well, the freedoms we had until 2020. My previous post was more than words. Mate, your singing is bad today. Extreme. A couple of weeks ago, I just had a song. I had a few beers, and I was like, "Wow, that's a good song," by the band Extreme. More than words. My next post had no likes or comments. People look at you more when you walk with a limp. I swear there's an unconscious attraction to injured men. Maybe that didn't resonate with any of my friends, my Facebook friends. But basically, I was saying, I think it comes down from war times. Like when I when I had an injured foot because I scraped my foot on, was it New Year's Eve, whatever, or Australia Day, or in between that. Like they had an event here, had all my family over. And I got sick after that. Yeah, I was walking with a limp, and I felt like I got looked at a lot on the street, you know? I think people are like, ooh, or maybe they're saying, what's this guy? You know, is he a strange person? He's walking with a limp. But I feel like, yeah, there's some kind of attraction to that. My previous post was, boredom is from Neuroscience News and Research. A team of researchers at Aarhus University has found evidence that suggests feeling bored can be a factor in setting off sadistic behavior. That comes down to the Mad Hatter expression that I always talk about. I think Jordan Peterson invented that. Basically, if you're not giving yourself enough stimulation, you'll start to do mean, sadistic things just for stimulation. Like I talked about at Players Nightclub in Mandurah, WA, people will be standing around, they're like, oh yeah, and then someone just punches someone on the back of the head, and everyone's like, woo, violence, yeah, I'm excited by violence, yeah. So yeah, I bet you these people, if they were learning Russian during the day, if they were learning how to ride a unicycle, learning about how to make a beautiful fucking Thai curry, they wouldn't want to punch someone in the head just to feel something. I totally agree with that. Think the little kids too. I mean, kids have so much energy. You wonder why kids are always abusing each other. I reckon take them out for a 2-hour run and make them read like read the Lord of the Rings and explain them each sentence, or pay someone, or go on YouTube and find someone reading them a book. So people have three main needs. They have three main needs. They have spiritual needs. They have cognitive stimulation needs. They have physical needs. You take them for sports. You take them for brain training, and you take them for spiritual training, and they feel calmer. They will less likely to tear up the place. They won't draw on the walls. They won't smear their shit in the bathroom. Then I had photos of our trip to Gold Coast with me and the fam, and I had a quote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." I believe I ripped off Friedrich Nietzsche, the 19th century German philosopher, who basically is saying, look, if you have a life purpose, you can go through anything. If you know that you have a higher good, you can go for days without sleep. You can go for weeks without food because you have purpose. Like, when you find your purpose, it's not just one-night stands and drinking and fast cars and showing off your neighbour investment properties. There's more to life. God damn it. I had a photo of me and my girlfriend at the waterfalls. Here's a post that had a lot of traction. A very strange phenomenon has been occurring the last 5 to 7 years where young people fetish over their self-diagnosed mental health affliction, using it as an excuse for poor etiquette and glorifying the symptoms as if their life purpose, and they bond over their illness, shaping their identity over anxiety, PTSD, body dysmorphia, etc. It reminds me of a reoffending rates of humans in prison is very high due to the punishment giving one meaning. People look for identity, and when you put someone in prison or tell them they are sick, you complete them. So the comparison is, like, if you've gone to prison, you're much more likely to go back there. So, like, I know in California, or one of those states in America, like in 2020, I remember reading an article that the local sheriff or the local superintendent of the police was saying he's not focusing on people not wearing masks because they let out all these prisoners, and people who have been to prison are more likely to rape, steal, murder again, deal ice, put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly for $20, use fake money to ruin the economy. So you go to prison, you're conditioned to being a prisoner. Or if you tell someone they're sick, they're gonna get married to that and say, look, I have depression, dysmorphia. That's who I am. That is me. That is my achievement. Love me, daddy. So, yeah, you can use it as a scapegoat. I mean, a lot of people, I guarantee you, you get a room of 100 people inside a room, randomly selected from the public. You choose them from like an electorate roll. If you wanted to, if you sat them down with a clinical psychologist for 10 90-minute sessions, you would be able to diagnose 9 out of 10 of them, particularly if there was financial motivation. If you told that clinical psychologist, there's a $100,000 reward for every person you diagnose, they will find 99% of them has an affliction. So overdiagnosis is a thing. Yes, there is people with conditions. I'm not saying they don't have conditions, but you can't fetishize it. Like, people can recover. Not everyone, but some people can recover. We are strong. Human beings are the most incredible asset to this universe. There's nothing more wonderful than a human being. Yes, volcanoes are cool. How nice are lilies? How nice is bamboo? It grows so quick. But human beings are incredible. We are so fascinating. We are so beautiful. We've got so much potential. You get a child, you can shape them to do anything. They can become a warrior. They can become a musician. They can become a dancer. They can become a epidemiologist. There's so much potential. It's just so wonderful. And we are strong. But you have to imagine, think about this, the most profitable industry in this entire universe is the pharmaceutical industry. Do you think they haven't got a vested interest in keeping you sick? They want you to be sick. They want you to stay down in the dirt. They don't want you to recover. They are paying for their yachts. They are paying for their $1,000 an hour hookers to come every night, dependent on you being sick. If you get better, they have to downgrade. They have to get a $500 a night hooker. They don't want that. They want to stay in a constant state of being a billionaire. It's addictive. So just don't use it as a crutch, because let me tell you, some people who have mental health conditions are the most impressive on this world. Look at Howard Hughes. Okay, he used to piss in 1,000 bottles, but he invented crazy airplanes. He invented incredible films. Look at that. There's so many wonderful people who have mental health issues. It can be an advantage. How many people do you remember from high school who were ADHD? They were the most popular people in the whole school. They are the most funny to be around. They were just like a ball of color. They were just like amazing. But they were ill. They were ill. So who's to say, it could be a benefit in the community. To be ADHD can be a benefit because you're hyper excited by things. I remember working with this one guy. He was so monotone. He always spoke at the exact same pitch. I swear, he could have won lottery. He'd be like, well, I just won lottery. I feel excited about winning lottery. Now I can play video games and not worry about paying for rent. Like, some people are like that. So ADHD people who get excited, they have facial reactions. Who's to say that's a sickness? Or, for example, some of my schizophrenic clients in the past, I swear they could see a lot of things that I can't see. And maybe I can talk a lot of shit, but some people are way more gifted than me. Like, some of my schizophrenic clients, they tell me some stories, like how they could hear what the neighbors are saying, they could hear about murder. Obviously there's some things that are delusional, but they could have so much fun just in their mind. I guarantee you, if they had the right counselor and they weren't poisoned with their energy drinks and the poor diet and lack of exercise and lack of spirituality and lack of stimulation, they could be in the right settings. They could offer a lot to society. I feel like even psychopaths. There's this book called Freakonomics, or I remember this book. He was on Joe Rogan. I read the book years ago, but it was on the Joe Rogan show. He wrote a book that's stating that you're more likely to be a psychopath as a CEO. So there's benefit to that. Like, if you're less likely to have empathy, you're more likely to do well for business, because in this book, I talked about how every time someone comes into a company and fires half the staff, the stocks go right up. So if you're someone like me, who's super emotional, I would be a terrible CEO because I feel for people. I have a lot of compassion. So I'd feel really guilty about seeing George and Cassandra get fired, and then I see them like pack their little box with their pot plant in their box, and they're walking to their Honda Civic, and they're going home to tell their wife they've been fired, and then she divorces him, then he becomes a drunk, then he goes on the street, then he gives hand jobs in the alley just to buy a donut. My goodness, that's a lot on your plate. I'd feel guilty as. I'll be like rocking myself to sleep every night. How could you deal with that? I mean, obviously because all these people are on medication. Not all of them. But yeah, I think that a lot of there can be a gift to mental health issues, but don't fetishize it. It's not like a really good thing or a really bad thing, because obviously it's tough. Like, people in a lot of pain, people who have some mental health issues, like obviously depression, anxiety. I mean, I had bad depression when I was a teenager, homeschooled. Oh my God, it was hard. I mean, I've been beaten up. I've been punched in the head many times. I've been in car crashes, right? I've lost my job. I've been fired. I've been brokenhearted. I've had my girlfriend cheat on me in front of my face, right? I've been betrayed by my family. I've been betrayed by my best friends, okay? I've seen my own government betray their people, right? But nothing hurts more than depression. You just feel empty inside. Nothing makes you happy. I was on a television show as a kid. I never watched my own show. Surprise TV on Sunday mornings at 11 p.m. on NBC Surprise. I never watched it because I was like, had such low self-esteem. I wouldn't even watch my own work. Okay, so it was tough. But so yeah, don't wish that upon your worst enemy. Depression, it sucks. Clinical depression. But in saying that, it may be the man I am today, because when you ruminate over something, when you're down in the dumps, your body is trying to figure out, how do I get out of this? I'm feeling like shit. So your brain will give you these chemical synapses fire in your brain, which will trigger deep thought. So maybe you'll get more philosophical. So I'm not saying you should invite depression into your life, but don't be so afraid of being down in the dumps every now and then, a couple times a year. Just because you know it will pass. Maybe you'll feel like crap for a day or two, but then you go for a walk in the park, you meet up with an old friend, you watch a great movie, and then you'll be like, that's right, life is amazing. But don't be afraid of those bad days. Those bad days teach you the most. Look at that. Look at that. Who else can talk shit like me? My previous post was, there's no sweeter sound than making a clinically depressed schizophrenic laugh. God, I miss my job. I can't wait for this whole virus situation to blow over in the next couple of days or decades, so I can do what I love again. Okay, I was just talking about my old job back in Melbourne. I used to work in mental health, and I did enjoy it. I enjoyed talking to these people. I enjoyed helping them, and I can't do it anymore because, Bill Gates. But basically saying, hey, when all this situation blows over the next couple of decades, maybe you should pursue a career in mental health. It's very satisfying. I mean, it's very tough, but very satisfying. My previous post before that is, sometimes the only thing that gets you through the day is the kindness of strangers. Like that, because that morning I was feeling a bit shitty, and then I drove to Woolworths to buy some mangoes and some avocados and some lamb mince. And, I was just like, walking around the alleyway, the aisles, and then someone always cut me off. And I was like, oh, sorry, buddy. He's like, oh, all good, mate. And I felt like a little bit higher. My spirit's a little bit higher after that. So, yeah. Because, strangers, you always, I'm not sure about every culture in the world, but, I come from English genetics. My mum, she's a Geordie lass. She's from Newcastle, Chesterley Street. Go on then, son. And yeah, her culture was like super polite. And so I think that's a lot of Australia. And so it feels nice to be in society. Like, it's nice to be among people. I mean, because I'm living in a country town or a country city now, and haven't got I've just got fired last week, and I haven't got many friends or my family don't talk to me. I'm a little bit lonely. Poor little me. So when I go to the shops, I'm like, ooh, human contact, isn't this amazing? Like sometimes I remember when I was in Korea and I was homeschooled, I'd go in a subway and I'd be like, and like someone would like brush past me, I'd be like, it was like so euphoric to have human contact. And I must admit, I was a bit cheeky sometimes. Okay, look, I've grown since then. I'm putting my heart in my sleeve here. Everyone has some weird shit about them. I'm telling you my weird shit. Sometimes I would just let my hand just kind of go. I'll just let my hand go, and if it brushed up against a young female's back, then I wouldn't really shy away, and it meant so much to me. I wouldn't like be crazy about it, but as a pure young teenage red-blooded male, it was extremely impactful on me. I mean, we forget how much human touch. I was just like, just touching it, like just a little. Someone brushed past his shoulder. It's like human contact is amazing. Like to give someone a high five, give them a little massage. Like I like giving people little massages. Like nothing. It doesn't have to be sexual, but just human contact, bro. Like just be nice to each other. Like don't make weird shit about. Like in South Korea, they're not homophobic. So like guys hold hands, girls hold hands. They hang out all the time. I've got to call my friend's calling. Hey Sith, how you going, buddy?
How are you, Sharif?
Good, thanks, mate. I actually got the job. Thank you so much for the reference.
Yeah, I've given you a reference and they rang me around lunchtime.
Oh, that's so good, man. I'm actually making a podcast right now, and you're on the podcast. Is it okay if I talk to you later?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. Yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks again. You're a bloody legend. I'm sending a lot of good karma your way.
That's all right. As long as you got the job, it's fine.
I did. Now I'll be able to pay some rent. My girlfriend won't kick me out, which is amazing.
Yeah, all right. All good. Good luck with your new job.
Cheers, bro. Once I start making some money, I'll send you a fruit basket.
I don't need anything.
I know you're a rich man. You work harder than anyone I know.
It's not that. Yeah.
I know you didn't do it for money. You did it because we used to hang out. We used to have good banter when we worked together.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Good luck with your new job then.
Thanks, bro. I'll talk to you later. See you, man.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Okay, my previous post was, isn't it a crying shame all those colorful conversations after a few drinks never recorded? That comes down to Jim Morrison, his bandmate Ray Manzarek was saying it was a crying shame that Jim turned into a roaring drunk, and he spent most of his nights buying all these shit cunts at the pub, free piss, and instead he should have been at home writing. That comes to, how many people do you know like that? They're majestic, artistic, poetic warriors, and what are they doing at the time? They're just dribbling shit away at the pub, and all those conversations, all that artistic talent is gone. I mean, it's all very well going to the pub every now and then, but I think it's a crying shame to be a drunk. It's a crying shame to just give everything to alcohol-induced coma. Like, it's spread the love. I mean, there's so much absolutely poor quality entertainment out there. When I chuck on the TV, when I put on Netflix, I feel my brain melting, okay? So it's not about you. Don't just think about your success. Think about the others. Think about little Timmy stuck at home watching this terrible TV. If they can go on YouTube and find, if you want to fix an old car, if you want to just sit with your mates and talk about footy, that human connection, that's better, okay? I think the old days, like Alec Baldwin and Julie Andrews just taking all the limelight, that's over, baby. Because of the internet, because of technology, there should be lots of little celebrities. Like, you can get exactly what you want, because how many people watch movies they don't even like? They just do it because there's not much stuff out there. But now, we have this technology. We have this beautiful technology. Thank you, Steve Jobs. You're amazing. You're amazing, Steve Jobs. We have this technology. Use it. Spread your craft with the world. So, my previous post was, these past 24 months have been absolutely fantastic for a self-esteem boost. It has never been so easy to decipher who are the spineless cowards that would gleefully hand over their firstborn child to medical research just so they can go to their local cocktail bar and take selfies of their super average cleavage. So my point here is, if you have some convictions, if you didn't roll over and just take it, if you stood up for what's right, then you can feel some calmness in your heart knowing that you're not a sellout, that you have the conviction that history will show that you are a decent human being, not just a little sheep. Okay? So that has made me feel a bit more self-confident. I mean, obviously I have my bad days and bad moments, but overall, I am extremely self-confident young man. That comes down partially to the fact that I stood up for what I believe in. Because every time you defy logic just to fit in with society, your soul dies. And I am very attached to my soul. I'm not selling out my soul just so I can earn $1,500 a week. Okay? Your soul is worth more than that, for crying out loud. Let me just check, make sure it's still recording. Yeah, it is. This stuff is such gold. I mean, I know no one watches this, but I know this is good. When I'm dead, they'll know that this is good shit. Okay? In 100 years' time, or 50 years' time, my son will get all my work, they'll post it, and it'll make a difference. I know people aren't ready for this yet, but who cares? It's not about my success now. I don't want the caviar. I said that. I don't want to have the million girls. All I want is to know in my heart I've got peace. I've got peace in my heart knowing I've given it a go. I didn't just sit there thinking, what if? What if? Okay, my previous post before that was Aislinn Debison, a Canadian singer from the 2000s. Somewhere over the rainbow. I posted that because she was amazing. And I wrote about it. Imagine if you popped out a door like this and she sang like this. You would never have to flick on the television for quality entertainment. You can simply sit in your comfortable rocking chair, wearing your tweed sweater, smoke your tobacco pipe, and ask her to sing every night after dinner. Life goals, eh? Because I was thinking about me as a kid. I hated watching Ally McBeal with my parents every night. I wish that they demanded that I play trumpet, dance around, tell stories, play Scrabble. I mean, obviously Ally McBeal had its upsides, you know, the guy touching her neck all the time. Calista Flockhart, she's quite pretty. But I just think, you know, there's something cool about artistic talents from your children. I'm going to end this soon because it's starting to rain. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear me. My previous post before that was me hanging out with my girlfriend. It's a video, and her beautiful mum and my dog Sapphire, and we were laughing because the translation had quite dirty because me and Tanya, my fiance's mum, we communicate through Google Translate, and sometimes it wouldn't be highly effective. So it was quite hilarious. It had some sexual innuendos. So this will be the last thing I mentioned. I'll go through this another day, but I'm going to end it now because, you know, like Spice Girls, they quit when they were on top. They were still popular, but they quit when they were on top. It's a good thing to do. Okay, this is my final post. As I rose from my slumber this morning, I could not find my phone, so I decided to take the dog for a run, do some deadlifts, shower, and sit down to a bowl of blueberries and read some Dostoevsky before any electronics. And I must say, I feel 11 times better than usual. Moral of the story is, it is not that good to check your phone so much. So, right now, I'm addicted to technology. I will sit there and scroll through Instagram, scroll through Facebook. I used to scroll through TikTok, but that was the worst. And it makes me feel like shit. When you're scrolling through all these apps all the time, it kills your soul a little bit. You're not meant to do that. I mean, you have to just be really wary. It happens to everyone. It happens to all the best people in the world. These machines are designed to make you addicted. Don't be the phone's bitch. Be your own boss. Have a good day.